Hi everyone, my name is Teri and today I'm going to be showing you how I make kale chips. I love this recipe because it's fairly simple and healthy, but more importantly, very delicious. All you need is at least one bunch of kale, oil, salt, and some time to spare. Let's get started. Alright, so first things first, you gotta wash your hands. I mean, it's COVID season, yes, but you always should wash your hands before you start cooking. Thank you for the reminder, don't forget to like this video. Once you're done, just dry them off and grab your kale and move to some free counter space to start the prep process. Now, forewarning, I have a lot of kale to work with, so this process did take me a little bit longer, but they do shrink quite a bit. I did a few rounds in the oven and my 2 bunches of kale left my family of 3, including me, with some leftovers the next day. But 1 bunch of kale is just enough for a snack. So you're going to want to start by separating the stems and then removing the leaves. I like to take off the thicker part of the stem because the thicker the stem, the less likely they will crisp up the way I like them. So I just throw that away and then you're left with an almost complete leaf to turn into a nice big chip in the end. Next, I grabbed a good old-fashioned lettuce spinner to rinse my kale. Sorry, the clip is blurry, but this one's better. So with these big leaves, I try and keep them mostly together so that they are still a big chip once they're done. I did wait a bit too long to make them, so I had to throw away some of the yellow and wilty leaves. Kale goes bad really quick, so don't make my mistakes. Wow, this is only 1 bunch, but there it is. And now I'm just going to rinse the leaves. I don't know what everyone has been doing, but my family has been washing all our produce with a bit of soap if we know we are going to use it right away. Otherwise, we've left it long enough just to hopefully kill the COVID. For these, they were in the open in the grocery store, but because I'm cooking them, I'm not too worried. I'm no disease spreading expert, but I did make sure to sanitize the counter after, just in case. But now that they're rinsed of anything icky, it's time to leave them to dry. I recommend you start the prep process earlier than you intend to make them so that they can thoroughly dry. Now you can just watch me struggle with this old salad spinner. Oh, I hate it, but I want to get some of the moisture out even though I plan to let them sit for a bit. So I did a few rounds of spinning and dumped the water from each round into the sink until there's almost no water left when you spin it, or as much as your arm can handle, really. Now I'm going to lay them out to dry for a few hours in between sheets of paper towel. I realized how wasteful this was, so I reused them for cleaning and such afterwards. If you do leave them out long enough, you don't really need the paper towel to soak up the liquid, but anyways, I repeated the rinsing and layering process for my bunch of kale, and now we wait. So a few hours later, they are completely dry and we are ready to cook them. I went ahead and I set my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I grabbed the biggest bowl I had. It was only big enough for 1 bunch of kale, but anyways, I grabbed some canola oil and a tablespoon and poured 1 tablespoon of oil into my bowl. Then I added 1 bunch of kale to the bowl and tossed it as much as I could. The ratio is about 1 tablespoon oil to 1 bunch kale. Since a lot of the leaves have spots where the oil didn't get to, I went through it and gently massaged the leaves to ensure the oil had coated each and every leaf properly. This step is a little bit extra, but I like to do it for the best results every single time. It's really not that necessary. Just make sure they're evenly coated and they'll be great. I repeated the oiling process for my 2nd bunch of kale and then gave them their own little massage before grabbing the biggest sheet pan I could find with a lip around the outside. I used parchment paper to line my pan because the whole thing will be completely ruined if they stick to the bottom of the pan. Luckily though, parchment paper can be reused pretty easily, so I only needed 1 for the many rounds of kale chips that I did make. We really do need to get a bigger sheet pan with a lip around the edges, but I mean, we have a bigger one, but it's flat and I hate when the oil drips off into the oven because our fire alarm is so sensitive. Anyways, I spread them on the line pan and popped them in the oven for about 10 minutes. So this is them after 10 minutes. You can tell some of the bigger leaves still have a little bit of give to them. We wanted them to be pretty stiff and not limpy, so I flipped a few of them over and popped them back in the oven for another 3 minutes. They'll usually take around 10 to 15 minutes in total, but no more. You don't want them to burn. So this is them after those extra 3 minutes. I recommend salting them at this point or even before putting them in the oven, but I'm dumb and forgot and carefully slid them in the bowl before salting them. And then I snagged one and I realized they weren't salted. And so I grabbed some table salt and then I had a little Salt Bae moment. But then it was time for the next round of kale. Remember how much kale I had? Well, yeah, it took me multiple rounds to get through it all. It was definitely a long night of kale chip making, but I couldn't help but snag a few midway through. Did you hear that crunch? Okay, now I want some. I should mention this recipe wasn't that original. I'll leave my source in the description, but that's it. I hope you enjoyed my little tutorial. It was a little different, but this way I could focus more on the filming. Don't forget to like and subscribe and watch some more videos. Okay, bye.